think that the more effective you are as a cross-cultural mediator, and I'll say in a minute what I think that consists of, the more effective you are in a mediation where everybody appears to be or is from the same culture. In other words, wherever there is a dispute, there will be differences in, or not necessarily even a dispute in legal or actual terms. Wherever there is a conflict, there will be differences in perceptions of the reality that gave rise to that conflict, which it's very hard to understand if all you're doing is fact-finding. Now, you've read my paper on deal-making mediation and you know what I think about it. I think it's too easy and I'm not interested. Make a deal. It's much cheaper than going to court. Those are convergent problems. That is, I didn't deliver to you. You had a contract with me that said I had to deliver to you. You've paid. I didn't deliver. I have to make good. Very difficult mediation. You know, this is almost South Park, isn't it? Duh, we say. It's really, you don't say. I mean, and people, you know, get brownie points and pats on the back for doing those mediations all the time, and they won't sit down. Those mediators, and I am one of them, have often not wanted to sit down with family mediators because that's not what we do. We do something so much more important. Rubbish. Sir Lawrence Street, who is the doyen of mediation in Australia, used to say, I'd rather do a mediation over 60 million quid than a mediation over a dividing fence in a backyard. Because he said the people mediating over 60 million quid have got their hands in somebody else's pocket, for a start, not their own, which always makes it a lot easier. Nobody wants to go to court over 60 million quid because it's winner take all. So it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to settle. But you talk to two neighbours who are fighting about what's happening over the fence, neither of whom has the means to move nor wants to be driven out by the other, and you are in intractable dispute for which you have to mobilise your best skills. And he's absolutely right, and he's been saying it for years. The better you are at understanding the intractable, the better you are at understanding what's motivating people in the more, what I'd call the more regular stream. The bankruptcy mediation is a classic example. If that had been done by a classical deal maker, they would have said, look, thank you for saying that, Mr. Brown, but I'm afraid that's not relevant here. We're here to talk about the fact that you owe the bank £17 million. They're not about to advance you any more money. They've declared you bankrupt. You're objecting to the bankruptcy motion. We're giving you a chance in a mediation to talk about it. Let's get on with it. And I say, rubbish. It's entirely relevant that Mr. So-and-so came here with a briefcase with one piece of paper in it that said where he was born and the clothes he stood up in. And that's what this guy had. And he started a widget-making business, and it became a major business, but he failed to see the changes in the times. He was ready to retool if somebody would advance him some credit. And that was the issue. The issue wasn't just his bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Was the bank going to let him retool? Were they going to help him find someone else? Was something else possible? There was a range of possibilities. A very creative outcome was reached. No help from me. I just sat there while they negotiated, but I think the change that I brought about was allowing Mr. So-and-so to tell them his story in the beginning about his creativity, that he'd set a hole in the market when he arrived in Australia in 1940, whatever it was.